All right, today we're talking about debt to income ratio. Guys, this is one of the most important things in the home loan approval process. I want to show you what debt to income ratio is, how debt to income ratio is calculated. You'll be surprised at how lenders calculate this. Most people don't know how it's actually calculated. And then we're going to talk about what a good debt to income ratio is for getting approved on a home loan. So before we jump into that, I'm a licensed loan officer. If this is your first time or you've watched us before, thank you for finding us. I hope that this information I'm about to share is helpful. So let's jump into it. First, what is debt to income ratio? Debt to income ratio is just your monthly debts expressed as a percentage of your monthly income. So where most people go wrong is they use their net income when they're at home penciling this out, or when they're on an online computer. You might be surprised, lenders don't use your net income, which is strange, right? That's the income that you actually receive. Lenders use your gross income when determining debt to income ratio. So what they're going to do is they're going to compare all the monthly liability payments that you have and the new mortgage, and they're going to compare that to your gross monthly income. Now, if you're a W-2 borrower, that's pretty easy. We use your W-2 income. And if you've got bonus, overtime, commissions, things like that, there are rules that determine whether or not we can include those other types of income and how much we can include. But whatever income fits within guidelines, meaning we can use that to qualify you, that goes on the income side of this calculation. On the other side of the debt to income ratio calculation are your monthly expenditures. Now, you might be surprised to learn this as well, guys. The only debts that we include in this calculation, first and foremost, are the new mortgage payment. So that whatever that new principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and HOA, all together, that new mortgage payment for the loan you're applying for, that's one of the monthly expenditures that goes into this calculation. The others are the monthly payments for the debts that show up on your credit report. So car payments, credit card, minimum credit card payments, student loan payments, anything that shows up on your credit report. The balance is not what gets included in this ratio. The monthly payment does. So we use your mortgage that you're applying for, that payment, your monthly payments from your credit report, and then if you've got other debts such as child support, alimony, separate maintenance, those also get included as a monthly expenditure on the debt side, okay? So let's just say you've got total debt, including the new mortgage, of $4,000 per month. And let's say that your income is $10,000 per month. That debt to income ratio is going to be 40%. 4,000 divided by 10,000 is 40%. So your DTI, or debt to income ratio, in that scenario would be 40%. Now, I mentioned a minute ago, this is pretty straightforward with W-2 borrowers. When you're looking at self-employed borrowers, it's a different calculation. There's no one-size-fits-all calculation for self-employed borrowers, but what we use is called the effective income. So whatever income we're allowed to use in every scenario is the income that gets used for the income side of the equation on this calculation. So it's your monthly debts divided by your gross monthly income. That equals your debt to income ratio. Another way to look at this is to reverse engineer, reverse calculate this. So if you have 10,000 in income, again, let's use that same number. And the max debt to income ratio for any loan that you're looking at, let's say you're looking at a conventional loan and you can go up to 50% total debt to income, then you can kind of back into it and say, okay, well, if I have 10,000 in income, I can have 50% of that be in total debt payments. So my total debt payments can be 50% of 10,000, which is $5,000. So you can have monthly payments of $5,000 a month, including the new mortgage, and you can kind of back into, hey, maybe I could afford X payment. Now, I'm not saying always go to the max debt to income ratio. When you do that, you might be house poor. It's not always a good idea to go to the max debt to income ratio. I'm just giving you an example of how to reverse engineer it. In fact, that's when a client asks us to max them out, what's the most I qualify for, we go to the max debt to income ratio. That's how we determine that. So let's talk about what a good debt to income ratio is. Now, good is subjective. It depends on everybody's scenario is unique. A lot of the determination of what is a safe debt to income ratio is how much residual income you have left over after paying all your bills. the higher your income, the more money you're going to have left over to after paying all your bills, even if you're at the max debt to income ratio. So I can't tell you, hey, here's this one magical debt to income ratio to stick to. This is case by case. In other videos, we've talked about creating a budget, guys. That's where this is super, super important. So instead of trying to give you a one size fits all of what a good debt to income ratio is, let's just talk about the maximums that different loans give you. Conventional total debt to income ratio, which is all of your debts, is maxed out at 50% on a conventional loan. FHA, you're going to see that debt to income ratio be a little higher at 56.99% max debt to income ratio. VA is unique. They don't technically have a maximum debt to income ratio, guys. They also use something called residual income, which is that what we just talked about, how much money you have left over after paying all your bills. I think VA is the smartest loan out there, by the way, by doing this. That's all loans should be using residual income, not just debt to income ratio. So I can't give you a max. I give you a range. Typically, VA is going to max out around 56.99, but we've gotten plenty of VA loans approved and closed with debt to income ratios in the 60s because those borrowers had a lot of residual or leftover income. So VA, there's no one size fits all. Now, when you get into the jumbo category, which are loans over $1 or more over the max conventional limit, you're going to have debt to income ratios all over the map. They can be as low as 35. They can go up to 43. Some go up to 50, but jumbo is investor by investor, and there's no one size fits all because of that. Each investor makes up their own rule, guys. So debt to income ratio is very subjective, and when you're creating your plan as far as what you should qualify for, that's all about creating a budget. We help with that. You can reach out, ask questions. That's what we're here for. We help all of our clients with this. You don't want to just always push to that max debt to income. However, if you're looking for some goalposts or some borders on how high can you go on different loans, those limits that I just gave you are what you want to stick to. So let's recap, guys. Debt to income ratio, what is it? It's a way that lenders express your monthly debt obligations as a percentage of your gross monthly income, not your net income, okay? And we simply take the monthly debts divided by your income, and that's your debt to income ratio expressed as a percentage. It's pretty straightforward. The difference, like I said, is we're using gross income, not your net, which might be backwards because you don't get to take your gross home. Wish we all could. That's just not how it works. And then there's different maximum debt to income ratio limits for different loan types. You want to make sure you know what those are when you're trying to create your budget and see where you fit. It's very important to understand debt to income ratio. Now, when you get into different types of income that can be included in the income part of this calculation, your loan officer needs to understand guidelines, commission guidelines, overtime and bonus income guidelines, self-employment rules, and how you can add back certain deductions to the self-employed borrower's income to give them a higher effective income. There's all kinds of different details that go into getting an effective income number that can be used. That's a whole nother video. The purpose of this, I just want to give you a very general overview of how debt to income ratio works and how important it is, guys, in the home loan approval process. We look at this for you in the very beginning. We're not waiting for underwriting to do this. We look at this so we know ahead of time during your pre-qualification where you're going to fall and make sure you're within guidelines when you go to underwriting so you'll be approved. So that's part of our job as your loan officer and your mortgage team. So guys, if you have any questions or comments, please put them below. I'd love to read them and answer them right away. Or you can always email, call, or text me. I hope you guys found this information helpful. Thanks for watching.